Hello, my hooking homies. So, how are you guys doing? The orange is me over here, out of frame. This is not a tutorial. I was just thinking maybe we might like to just spend some time together. I know that a lot of people, especially this time of year, suffer with a lot of loneliness. And it's just good to hear the sound of another human voice sometimes, just talking to you and we can crochet together, right? Why not? Um, like I said, this is not a tutorial. I'm just sitting here today, this evening, tonight, whatever, um, making a twisted ear warmer, and it's all done in front post double crochet. Before we begin, I guess I'll just I'll tell you a little bit about it. It takes about 1.5 balls of this KNC element yarn. It's a 90% cotton, 10% acrylic, and it has 102 yards per ball. And like I said, it takes about 1.5 balls. And as of the recording of this, it's a Black Friday deal at Joann's right now for $2 a ball. And I got it over the summer. They had it for like $1.99. It was like a doorbuster when they first got it in. It's kind of a little bit aggravating to work with because it does have a halo, if you can see that. It does have a halo that tends to grab, and it's not the easiest for pulling it. You can't just pull on it from here. See what it does? Can you see that? It's yeah. So I do have to stop and pull, like that. But makes a pretty ear warmer. Excuse me. I don't know. Every time I go to record, my throat dries up on me. But let's just sit and chat, shall we? If anybody wants to drop a comment in the comment section, we can have a little chit chat that way. For all of us people that are, for whatever reason, by ourselves right now, or otherwise alone, or otherwise lonely. And while I'm thinking about it, that's something that kind of bugs me. People act like it's some kind of bad thing to admit when you're lonely. I've had times where I've admitted out loud that I was lonely, and then people get nasty. Like, well, you shouldn't have any reason to be lonely. All you need to do is get out of the house and you know. But it's not always that simple, is it? People that go home to families that eat dinner with their family and shop with their family and cook with their family, kiss their kids goodnight, they don't really have a clue, now do they? Not to be negative, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Don't ever take advice about how being lonely is a dirty word from someone that hasn't spent a moment being lonely. And it doesn't mean that we're sitting here crying and wallowing in our pity and all that. It just means it is what it is. Sometimes loneliness is unavoidable. But it helps me to spend time with you guys, and it makes the room feel a little less empty. Now, there are people in my house. My oldest son and his wife, they live with me, but they've got their own life. He works full time, and she spends a lot of time, with her family, her mother and stuff, which is good. No grandbabies, which I'm totally fine about that. Totally fine. And I do have a younger son. He lives in Florida, though. And I've not seen him in about, I guess, 2 years. He's living down there by the ocean. Doing good. And he's happy, so that's what's the most important. And, yeah, my son, he works third shift, the one that lives here. So, he sleeps during the days and is gone at night, of course. So it creates a lot of time for me to be me. And that's okay. I don't know that it'll always be this way, but for now, in this moment in my life, I am. Because, little history on me for anybody that might be new here that doesn't know. I was married for about 32 years. Got started young. I was married when I was 15, and I had my 2 sons. And in 2016, my divorce was official. So here we are in 2021, about to be 2022, and I've been single pretty much ever since. I mean, I dated a little bit. Dated one guy in particular pretty seriously for a couple of years, but you know, as things sometimes do, that went south, and we had to part ways. I mean, but you know, you gotta. I'm not gonna talk bad about him. You know, uh, he he came along when I needed somebody, and he was fun to be with. I had a lot of fun with him. You know, regardless of the fallout and the things that went down that weren't good. For the most part, you know, I had plenty to do, plenty of fun, laughs, joy, and excitement, and that's what I choose to remember. But for basically ever since the you know what happened to the world, I have been here at home and really cranking out the crochet, which, thank goodness, I got back into crochet. I don't know what I would do right now if I wasn't. Um, I used to, a little bit of backstory on me. When I was married, had a little jewelry designing hobby business type thing, and it was very successful, very successful. Um, my pieces sold regularly. I had a really, uh, really good income from that. And then a couple of years into doing that is when my, at the time, husband decided he wanted to start his own business, and it required the family to travel. So I had to, as a good wife does, I gave it up so that he could live his dream. And we became kind of like a family of gypsies in a way. We were always in a new state, new town, new hotel room. And sometimes we actually had houses that we were able to stay in if it was going to be a long-term contract. I've stayed in houses by the ocean. I've stayed in houses that had a pool out front with the pool boy, the whole nine. But anyway, that was a former life when I was a little bit of a jewelry designer, and there was a time when I was really, really heavily into scrapbooking, and I loved making the paper bag albums. If you don't know what that is, you get paper bags, and you can get them pre done on a binder, and they just look very rustic, and and they're fun to decorate and all that. And I had invested so much money in that. But the kids grew up and it, ran out of things to take pictures of, to be quite honest. So I figured, close the chapter on that hobby. Because I'm not really big on card making. I mean, it's okay, but it wasn't something that I looked forward to doing. And I honestly don't have anybody really to send cards to. And how many cards can you send to the same group of people over and over? um, and the other thing I had against scrapbooking is it's that hobby where you have to have a million pieces. Like, you've got thousands of pattern papers, thousands of cardstock, for the backing and whatnot, stickers, rub-ons, glitters, powders, heat guns, light tables. It's just, and then all the other embellishments, you know, all the mini brads and just all the other 3D elements and everything that comes with it. And I had a whole entire room dedicated to it at one time. And it took every square inch, man. Oh, the punches. Oh, my goodness. Where you can, punch out all the different little shapes and things. I had tons of those. And it just got crazy. I've always kind of, sort of known about crochet. I had a cousin, I think. She was a cousin. She tried to introduce me to it when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And, I learned how to do the chain and the single crochet. And that was pretty much where I stopped. And my drink is empty. That's great. How far in are we? That's not bad. 12 minutes. But I guess, I was a kid. It didn't really grab my interest. So fast forward to about 3 or 4 years ago when I was going through all the divorce stuff and all that good stuff. It occurred to me that I needed something to do. I've always been a kind of person that needs something, a creative outlet. I've got to be using my hands. And I think I'm going to pause this for a second because I feel a cough coming. And so, a lot of hobbies get overcomplicated, I think. They get all these gadgets and gizmos. They want to sell you this and they want to sell you that. But when it comes to crochet, I mean, really, if you've got a ball of yarn and a hook, you're good to go. If you want to get technical, yeah, you do need some scissors. And occasionally you need your darning needle, right? But basically, that's what attracted me back to crochet, why I gave it another chance. Because I wanted something that would be more simplified. And you can't get too much simpler than grabbing your ball of yarn and your hook and just go. If you're going to be somewhere where you're going to have to wait on somebody, or you've got to wait to get called into the doctor, or whatever you're doing where you may be waiting for a while, it's a good way to pass the time, and you don't have to drag out. Like with jewelry, that's, you gotta have the jump rings and the chain and all the different size pliers and the stones and the wires and the right gauges, and it's intense to make jewelry, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. There's a lot of elements to making jewelry. You can't just sit down with a handful of beads and some wire and make something. Got to have all the proper tools. Oh, and then ear wires if you're doing like earrings, lobster clasps and things if you're doing necklaces and bracelets and so on. It's so involved. So that's why that's when I started to get more serious about really learning to crochet. and I'm really glad I did. Now, I have a wall of yarn in my living room that, if I had enough money, would probably completely take over my living room, let's be honest. But even so, it's still better, in my opinion, than having carts and carts and drawers of, you need this tool, you need that tool, you need this part, you need this piece. It's so much better. I would rather go stand in front of a room full of yarn and say, this is the yarn I want to work with today, rather than say, okay, I want to make a bracelet, but by the time I spend 2 or 3 hours looking through thousands and thousands of beads to pick the colors or the color combinations, by the time I got everything picked out for the project, I didn't want to do it anymore. A lot of times. And even if I found with me, even if I had a project in mind, even if I sketched it out, something will look right. Even if I sketched it out ahead of time, once you start pulling the beads and really looking at them, your mind will change. And it would get crazy. Which I think, to be honest, is another reason why I didn't mind giving it up when my husband wanted to start his own thing, his own business. But it was good money. I do have to say, it was good money. I'm not, I don't have an Etsy shop or anything like that. I just, if somebody happens to see something they want now, as far as my crochet, I will always sell anything I make. I don't care. But I don't have a shop, and I don't really advertise it. I try to advertise my YouTube channel, but that's pretty much it. I get inspired by so many other channels, when they show new items that they've made, and I love to watch the tutorials and learn a new stitch or a new stitch combination. I find that a lot of times certain stitch patterns, even though, for example, they may be making a shawl with it, but my brain will be like, oh, that would be the cutest stitch for a hat, and so I may not make the shawl, but I'll get down the stitch pattern and I'll make a hat instead, or a scarf, or a throw, whatever. I'm sure you guys do that too. But I do love, YouTube and the crochet community, because it is, a very good source for inspiration, and there again, it's a good cure for the loneliness, right? We're all here for one reason or another. Excuse me, I tell you, I don't know what it is. If you hear a hum in the background, I do have a little space heater going, and it's kind of necessary right now. Here in Tennessee, it's supposed to get down to 21 tonight, and that's Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius for my Canadian ladies and gentlemen, but that's what it is here. It's supposed to get down to 21, which means I have to leave all the water running just a little bit tonight, or my water pipes will freeze and bust. Oh my goodness. That has happened to me so many, many, many times. It was there for a while. It was like an every winter thing of replacing and reinstalling and replacing water pipes. I'm going to sit for a second. I'm kind of hunched over. Oh my goodness. I'm still in frame. Even though we were leaving the water running, the pipes were still freezing and busting. It was just like, what's going on? This is crazy. But I've been lucky the previous 2 winters. Haven't had any water pipes bust on me, so fingers crossed that we make it through make it through this winter without anything freezing and busting. So, yeah. Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but my jaw just popped. Ouch. Yeah. When I'm making these ear warmers, headbands, whatever, I always stop and stretch the fabric, just because you know how yarn is, it will stretch over time, and I find that if I stretch it as I'm making it, then when I make it into a headband, I don't end up with something that's falling off my head because it's stretching. It's pre-stretched. It's made pre-stretched. That way I know exactly when it's really fitting me properly. I don't know if anybody else does that, but that's just my little thing. I don't wear a lot of headbands or whatever, but these are super warm in the winter. I find that I like wearing an ear warmer headband way more than a hat. I love making hats, though. Oh, do I love making hats? Oh, my goodness. But as far as me, I would prefer, the ear warmer. And it's aggravating when you're like getting in and out of the car or just whatever you're doing, and the next thing you know, the thing has slipped off your head and it's on the ground behind you or falling down around your neck. So I learned to go ahead and pre-stretch that fabric. Pre-stretch. Yeah, that's what works for me. And how many minutes in are we, guys? I can't really see that. Let me lift you up a second. 22. Okay. Yeah, I'm here. 22. So I'll probably go to 30. At least on this one. I don't talk a lot. I don't use my voice very often. That's probably why my throat's getting dry. But I want to say that if this is something that interests you, let me know. If you want to do it, if you would like for me to record these more often, let me know. And I will. If it's something that doesn't interest you, that's, totally fine. But either way, let me know. I know some people probably think it's kind of pointless, but there's a lot of times I wish I had somebody to crochet with. And with all that's going on, this is about the safest way to hang out with somebody right now, right? And like I said, I'll do more of these, and we'll spend more time together if you guys are interested in that. And like I said, this is definitely not a tutorial, so don't look at it as a tutorial, because it's not. And even if it was, honestly, look how easy this is. I mean, really. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, just don't forget to help me out in return for my time by giving the video a thumbs up if you liked it. You can give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. That's okay too. I'm never offended by a thumbs down. The only thing is, if you're going to leave a comment, you do need to be respectful. You can let somebody know it wasn't your jam without being nasty. There's never any reason. Because YouTube, it's the same as with your television. When you're scrolling through channels, you don't stop and watch a show that you don't like, or you don't spend 5 minutes on a show and go, oh, I hate this, let's keep watching it. You're not writing the producers or whatever and complaining about blah, 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 And YouTube to me is the same. If you come across a video and upload it, it's not you. It's not interesting to you. You can definitely write me in the comments and let me know, but there's no reason to be nasty about it. We don't need to be ugly. Life has too much ugliness. Way too much ugliness. Too many people that want to be heard for the wrong reasons. Want to get attention for the wrong reasons. And that's not me. But back to the point. If you can leave me a thumb up or down so that my YouTube analytics sees the interaction, a comment is even better. Even if it's just a thumb up emoji or a wave or anything. Leaving comments is great. One of the worst things you can do is watch a video the whole way through and not comment or leave a thumb. That actually goes against the content creator to do that. Because apparently YouTube sees that as you didn't like it. Because in this case, no news is negative news, you know? No feedback is negative feedback, basically. And I don't know how they come to that conclusion, but that's just what I've learned. The worst thing you could do. And so, a lot of people say, I will run your channel while I sleep. Well, that's probably not a good thing to do, because you're not there to physically interact if you're sleeping. I don't know. That seems to be the policy for now, and it may get changed. I'm just asking for you to let me know you're on the other end. Let me know if you want more of these videos to crochet together. If you enjoy crocheting with me. And luckily, this is a very easy project. I'll have to get my filming area set up better if I was going to do something more involved, because right now I am kind of hunched over to do this, but yeah, we do what we can. And how far in am I? 27 and a half, it looks like. All right. Stretch my spine. I've never been a fan of yoga, but I think I may have to get into it. I shouldn't say I've not been a fan of it. I've just never done it. But I can definitely see how it would have benefits, because when I stretch a certain way, it's like, that's the spot. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna close this off soon, and I know it's only been a half an hour, but I hope it's something. I hope that my point is to help somebody else through their day that's maybe alone or lonely, or just otherwise, needed company and somebody to spend some time with. I thank you for popping over to my channel. I appreciate you guys. You're all I call you my hooking homies. You're my hooking homies and my friends, and I do appreciate, you coming and hanging out with me, and, giving me a little bit of your time. And as Krista says over to Secret Yarnery, inviting me into your home. So, let me know if we need to do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it as many times as we need to do it. I'm here for you guys. Hope you guys are having a great... Thanksgiving is coming up. Hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving if you're doing that. If you're not, I'm here for you. Let me know. So, I know as soon as I hit end, I'll remember something that I should have said. So that's why I've taken these pauses. I'm drawing blanks, to be honest. But yeah, just holler at your girl. That's what I always say. Holler at your girl. Love to everybody. Talk to you later.